Vishal Gupta, and today we have with us the very beautiful and charming Karina Pandya, who's come up with her latest creation called Inside Mumbai. So let's start. Let's talk to her about her book, and let's understand about her new creation. Karina,
Yeah.
before we read a book, I think it's more important also to understand the human being. Because once you understand the human being, you understand the book.
Yeah.
So let's begin from the beginning, as they
Okay.
say. And tell us a little bit about yourself, your childhood, where you've stayed, and then we'll get to the book. But first, a little bit about yourself, Karina.
Okay. So I am born and brought up in New York in the US. I lived there for 10 years and then I shifted to Bombay. I did my schooling here. I did my college. I'm a psychology graduate. That was my first passion, to be a psychologist. Like my mom was a psychiatrist. And then I realized that I was talented in writing, poetry especially. So then I pursued poetry for a while. And then I got into my postgrad in communication. And I did a lot of different types of content forms and realized, and then I got into teaching, of course. So after that, I just by chance, I published one book. 2 years later, I published my second book. And then came the idea of Inside Mumbai, which is kind of like a sequel to the second book, which is set in New York. But this one is set in Bombay, following the same theme.
So let me ask you this now: that you see, before you write a book, anybody writes a book. There's always, I believe, that there's always an idea which is kind of building up. Like a seed which we have, which when we're taking a bath or going for a walk, it's kind of building up. Tell us, how did this idea of Inside Mumbai, Stories from the Heart of a Vibrant City, the subtitle. So how did this idea come? When did it first start, if you can remember? And then how did it build up to the level where you said, okay, now I have to get my paper and pencil and I have to start writing?
So the seed of the book started in probably 2021-22 when my second book was published, New York Wakes to Culture. I just knew I had to do something.
Can you please tell the audience the name of the second book?
New York Wakes to Culture, which is completely about the culture of the city. It follows the same format as Inside Mumbai, following the lives of 7 interns interning at a newspaper to secure a job. And the lead character, Mahi in Inside Mumbai, writes about the culture of the city, which is the same as New York Wakes to Culture, where Myra was writing about the culture of New York. So that's when it initially started. And then I kind of altered Inside Mumbai to give it a much more interesting angle, to include a little more relevant topics and focus on different aspects of Bombay, of the city that I love so much. And that was just basically about what the book is, how it's initiated.
Can you tell us, so when you started writing the book, did you have to do some kind of research? Because Mumbai is a big city. How did you go about the process of writing?
So the first thing was the characters. I needed to build the characters and I had to make them visually appealing so that somebody could imagine who the characters were. This is a bit different from New York Wakes to Culture, where this I gave physical descriptions where you could actually visualize who is Mahi Chatterjee, who is Maria Mirza, who is Ritvik Jain. You could actually visualize that. That was the first.
Sorry for interrupting, but this is a very interesting question which has come up and I don't want to, I'll forget it. Therefore, I'm asking, you got some amazing names of the characters.
Yeah, so it took me a lot of time.
How did you get those?
So I did a lot of research that I wanted Mahi Bengali. I looked up a lot of names. I researched a lot of names. I wanted it instinctively to click with me. And I wanted Mahi is representative of me, who I am. So then there's Maria, there's Ritvik, there's Shiva, there's Aditya. They all come from different backgrounds. So it took a lot of research to get the names correct and everything. And from there, I visually got them descriptive. And then the story just built on from there.
Are these characters based on some of the people you know?
No.
Or they are completely, like you said, Mahi is based on
Mahi
you?
is like, of course.
Like usually what happens is that when we write, sometimes we have these characters of, friends when we are young or somebody we've seen somewhere. So any of these people kind of ring a bell towards, or you've described them on somebody you knew
No,
earlier?
visually, physically descriptive, I have not got them resembling anyone. It was just probably when I was sitting in my NGO, two names struck my mind of two people who I work with, Maria and Vihan. So I just was sitting there and I borrowed their names. I took it there. Like the first thing is that when I saw the children, I teach children English, that's when the drive of the story of how passionate it should be just came into mind. And everything is completely fiction.
Also, one more thing which strikes out, or is that you've kind of included all religions.
Yeah, I wanted it completely packed of what the full chunk of what Bombay is, because Bombay is full of religions. It's full of every religion, everything. So I wanted everything to be included.
Now, one question which I've been dying to ask you, and which I'm sure people also want to know. You've lived in two of the most amazing cities in the world, one being New York and the other being Mumbai. Which is better?
New York is definitely very good, but I prefer Bombay, of course, because that's where my heart is. My sister lives in New York, but she also wishes she could come back to Bombay. But I think Bombay's got a charm where your heart resides here. It doesn't matter where you live, how big your house is. There's just a charm to Bombay, which sits with you.
If I were to ask you three things about Mumbai, which you really love, three things, what would those be?
The warmth of people around you, your neighbors, the sabjiwala, the people around you, the warmth of the city, and how collectivist the city is as compared to New York, and how visually appealing it is, how easy it is to do different things in Bombay.
Tell me in one paragraph, why should people read this book of yours? Why?
Why should people read this book?
Yes. And after reading, what would they kind of understand or appreciate? Because, we all we read a book for a particular reason, right? So what is one thing which you think, why should people read this book?
People should read this book because firstly, if you're interested in writing, you will find a lot of interesting assignments which I've done in this. And secondly, it's about Bombay. Which person can possibly dislike Bombay? It's like about a city you love. It's every nook and corner. It's about the culture of the city. It's got a lot of poetry in it. It's got, I don't know, I mean, does that answer your question anyway?
It doesn't matter, but
No,
just
but,
go on, yeah.
It's just a fantastic read. It's just like all about the city. It's got the culture, it's got mythology, it's got crime, it's got love. It's just a whole different dimension of seeing.
Well, I'm going to read the book because I believe that every book is a reflection of a person's personality. And I think you have a very vibrant and beautiful personality.
Thank you.
And I think that I read the book, and that's, I could see Karina everywhere in this. The beauty of your thoughts, your words, your poetry, and your understanding of the city. The city, everybody, if I ask 10 people of Mumbai, they all have their own opinions, perception about the city. And I can tell you that one of the most beautiful ways to see Mumbai is through your eyes, Karina.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The only thing is that the book is not as beautiful as your eyes, but it's the next best thing. So if you want to read something as beautiful as Karina's eyes, and understand Mumbai and look at Mumbai through her eyes, this book is a must read. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you so much.